ויפתחו בך יוני שמך, כי לא עזבת דרשך, אדוני. אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר. ברוך הגבר אשר יטב באדוני, והיה אדוני מתחו. ברכו אדוני הדעה, כי ביד אדוני צור עולמים. ויבטחו בך יוני שמך, כי לא עזבת דרשך, אדוני. אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר. ידעי הנני הנני ויפתחו בך יוני שמך, כי לא עזבת דרשך, אדוני. אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר.
Shabbat Shalom. Still have music playing. Oh, we just have music still coming out of it. Okay. All right, well, welcome everybody. It's good to be here. It is the first Shabbat of summer, and it sort of feels like it. So there we go. I don't know what it's also, we got a smaller crowd in here. I don't know, it gets a little hot. It rains in California, people don't come. It gets a little hot, people don't come. I don't know, but I'm very happy that you're here. So we're here together, and it's good to be here with you. We are going to begin with Hine Matov, which is familiar to probably most of you. It's on your song sheet. Did everybody get a song sheet as they came in? Great. All right.
So please feel free to join in. It should be relatively familiar at this point. It's on page 10. Page 10 in your Sidurim is Hine Matov.
Sweet it is to be together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem. Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem. Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem. Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem. Salam Aleikum.
How good it is. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
How good it is. How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov, hine matov, manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad.
We turn to pages 2 and 3. I invite those who can comfortably do so to please rise. Let's read together the bottom set of paragraphs on page 3. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'had likneh shel Shabbat.
We turn to pages 20 and 21. As we turn to Lecha Dodi, we have an opportunity for Hazarat HaShavua, for a review of the week. I wasn't with you last week, so I didn't get to review with you. Last week, I had 3 graduations last weekend. One from my daughter graduated high school, and 2, my son who graduated college at UCLA had one on Friday and one on Sunday. So we had those, and then a bar mitzvah on Saturday. So we filled the weekend with lots of things, and it's time for all of us to reflect back on this last week, to spend a moment on each day, on its blessings, on its challenges, and then we'll come back together and welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. We'll sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, I'll invite those who can comfortably do so to rise and face the doors from which we entered, to welcome the Shabbat presence and the Nishama Yetera, the extra soulfulness that travels with us during Shabbat into the congregation and into our hearts. For those of you who are joining us from home, I'll invite you to turn towards the door of your home and to bring Shabbat into your home. Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Enei Shabbat, Lekavela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Enei Shabbat, Lekavela. Shamor v'zachor, v'nibur adham. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, Shemut tiferet elitfilah. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Enei Shabbat, Lekavela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Enei Shabbat, Shabbat Shabbat Lechuven Elcha Yimekor Habracha Merosh B'Kedem Yisrucha So Pa'aseh B'Machshava Tehillah Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Yitoreri Yitoreri Yivaorei Uri 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 Shilaveri El Adonai Allah Yechla Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat
Please rise if you can comfortably do so.
Oi v'shalom atem alav Gam b'simcha u'tzola Toch emunei am sgula Oi chala Oi chala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat
You can remain standing. We'll continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'al divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei V'chayechon u'vyom echon U'chayedechol ben Yisrael V'gala U'lizman kariv Ve'imeru Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mivara Le'elam u'lalmei almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnasei V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha Birichu Le'ela min kol birchata V'shirata Dush bechata v'nechemata Ta'amiran le'alma Ve'imiru Amen.
Page 28, Baruchu, our call to prayer. You'll find the Hebrew on page 28 and the English on your song sheet where it says, Am I awake?
Oh, am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada dai dai dai, 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 yada dai dai dai. Baruchu et Adonai.
Last three lines in the Hebrew on page 30, El Chai V'Kayam.
El Chai V'Kayam, Kavini Loch Aleinu L'Olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo,
Amariv, Aravi.
Amen. Page 34 and 35, Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. We continue on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet.
Emet. Page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Micha Mocha, page 40.
Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Torah tehilo, osei tefillah. Torah tehilo, osei tefillah. Adonai le'olam va'ed. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, Olmei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Say li anu ve'amaru, say li anu ve'amaru, Adonai ilok le'olam va'ed. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 ya da 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 da. Yai da 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 ya da 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 da. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
Gal Yisrael.
Amen. Turn to our song sheet and Hashkivenu. Usually we have, when we have kids here, we shelter them with these talitot that I put out as we model this idea of asking God to shelter us with the sukkah of peace. Just because you're not kids doesn't mean that you can't shelter yourselves or others around you with the talitot if you want that are around. So feel free to grab one if you'd like. We begin with Hashkivenu. Again, it's on your song sheet. The text in the Sidur, but not all of it, is on page 42. And then you have it where it says Hashkivenu Matovu in your song sheet. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, l'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Tifros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light, to judge God wrong from right. Adonai. Amen. 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 Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom. Tali Toad can go away. We continue giving thanks for Shabbat, for the opportunity it gives us every week to renew and refresh and reconnect. Join in singing Vishamru, page 44. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam brit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam brit olam. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. Ask those who can comfortably do so to please rise. We turn to page 46.
Adonai
Sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Adonai,
open up my lips,
so that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo, B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Page 50. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Yevuro, Umidom Elav, Melech Meimit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atal HaChayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We take a few moments for silent prayer for the text of our own heart. We continue with our private thoughts or with the words of the prayer book through page 62, 63. When you're through, you may be seated. Bottom of page 62. יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
So in our Torah portion, it's Ba'alotecha. It's and we are in the book of Numbers, right? So last week, if you recall, last week we were reading from Naso, and Naso has, among many things that are in the chapter, it has the priestly blessing, the hands that are up there. That's in Parshat Naso. And as we continue this week in Ba'alotecha, it sort of contains a lot of different elements. It talks about the menorah that has to be, and what it's made of, that goes in the tabernacle in the desert. Matter of fact, it's part of a portion that's read on Shabbat Hanukkah, even though obviously it's a different menorah, right? Because this is a 7-branched menorah that they had in the tabernacle, but since it becomes the model for an 8-branched menorah that is put for Hanukkah, my bar mitzvah was Shabbat Hanukkah, so that's why I remember the Torah portion. Just last year, it was, a few years back, and it also has within it some other things that we might be familiar with. One of our Mishaberach prayers that we sometimes sing here has the words El Na Rifana La in it, which means God please heal her, literally. But that comes from this Torah portion too, where Miriam is basically talking badly about Moses' wife, the Cushite woman, is what they call her, which is sort of like she's dark-skinned, right? And they're talking badly. Miriam's talking badly about her, and Miriam is struck with skin disease or whatever from the text perspective because she said bad things, right, about Moses' wife. And then Moses prays for her healing, right, in what is the shortest prayer that we have in the Torah, El Na Rifana La, God please heal her, right? We have that here, and there's actually a debate in the Talmud about how short can prayers be, and there's an argument between a few different rabbis, and they point to this. The rabbi who's arguing that prayers can be short and concise and still be heard points to Moses' prayer here in the portion, and also points to the place that Moses is about trying to cross the sea and lifts up it starts kind of having a whole conversation with God, and God sort of says, enough, move forward, right? Sometimes you got to just shut up and act, is sort of what God says, and also close your mouth sometimes as that plays out. But what I really want to talk about, those are a few things that are in this week's Parsha. What I really want to talk about is it's actually only 2 verses in the portion, that it comes from Numbers chapter 10, verses 35 and 36. And it's set off. So before it in the Torah, there's an upside down nun. And then after it in the Torah, there's an upside down nun. It's like it's bracketed in one way in our Torah portion. And by the way, there's lots of commentaries on that, including the commentary that says here about the upside down nuns, that Judah Hanasi, who was the compiler of the Mishnah in the year 200, says that those 2 verses comprise a whole different book of the Torah. So the book of Numbers is actually 3 books, according to Yehuda Hanasi. So there's the book of Numbers up to that point. These 2 sections are a whole nother book of the Torah, and then, so it means we have 7 books. So we've been calling that thing this thing the Chumash, which comes from the word 5, Chamesh, but we're, according to Judah Hanasi, we're wrong. But really what I like to think about, which is sort of interesting, that we have these 2 verses that are very unusual. They're set off, as I said, and they're about the journey of the Holy Ark, Aron HaBrit, the Ark of the Covenant. Those of you who grew up, well, it was even in the Reform Prayer Book once, but it's not in our Reform Prayer Book today. But if you grew up in a place with a Torah service, you might actually remember these words, because it comes right at the beginning of the Torah service. Vayehi binsoa Aharon, vayomer Moshe, kuma Adonai, veyafusu oivecha, veyanusu misanecha mipanecha. And that's where it cuts from the verse here. And then people say, Ki mitzion tetzei, which we have. That part we have, but we don't have these verses before in our book. That's part of what's bracketed here. What does it mean? It says, Vayhi binsoa Aharon vayomer Moshe. When the ark was set to go out, Moses would say, Kuma Adonai, rise up, O Eternal One. Ve'afusu oivecha, and may your enemies be scattered. Ve'anusu misanecha mipanecha, and may your foes flee from before you. Right? So the ark is carried, and it's, as it goes, it's sort of like this symbol of God being with us, and our enemies are going to scatter as they see the ark that is being carried forward. Perhaps it's taken out of our prayer book because it sort of has military imagery, and it's not what the editors of our prayer book decided they wanted to frame the Torah service with. But it is really about the ark and its movement, right, with the people. So it's and by the way, that's all that was in the Torah service. But the second verse, which is also bracketed off, that's only 1 verse, says, and when it is halted, he would say, Shuva Adonai, return, O Eternal One, you who are Israel's myriads of thousands. Okay, but since we were taking it out, not putting it away at that point, we only had that first verse. All right. So in the Talmud, in Masechet Shabbat, the section that talks about Shabbat, it brings a teaching for why these verses are so unusually marked. This is what it says. It is taught that the Holy One, blessed be God, placed signs before and below this portion to say that this is not its place. She'ein ze mikoma. Just hold that for a minute, because I know it doesn't quite make sense yet, but just hold it for a minute. The very verses that teach us about the journeying of the ark are themselves journeying through the Torah, which is to say, this isn't the place that these verses go in the Torah, but they travel. Like the ark, right? They travel through the Torah. This is the place that at some point somebody wrote them in, right? The scribe wrote them in, but the words actually, like the ark, travel through the text of the Torah, right, in different place. The Holy Ark contains our holy words and traditions, and thus can never be stuck in one place, right? The journey of the ark is representative of our ever-unfolding tradition. When last Saturday we had a bar mitzvah. When our b'nai mitzvah stand up here and we're about to pass them the Torah, one of the things I quite often say to them is, I hope that Jewish tradition challenges you and helps shape your life, and I hope that when necessary you challenge Jewish tradition and you wrestle with it and you reshape it, and we then have a tradition that's been shaped by the generation we live, and it gets passed down, right, in a new form, right, to another generation. The Torah is never stuck in one place, so to speak. It continues to travel with the people, and as it does, it's reshaped and it's changed. So we have this kind of ever unfolding interpretive tradition. Words of Torah, ever moving, always in a state of evolution. So every time there's a chidush, which in our chidush comes from the word chadash, something new. Our capital campaign is called our Or Chadash, New Light campaign, right? New Light. But a chidush is like a new insight, right? When we read a text and we have something, we see something for the first time, or we find a new interpretation, it's a chidush. It's a new understanding. So every time there's a chidush, a fresh insight, the journey of the ark continues. Each one of us and each generation that engages with the text pushes the journey forward. And then I just end with one more story from our tradition. There's a great story when Moses is up on Mount Sinai, and God's telling Moses to write the Torah. And God says, this is in the Midrash, it doesn't say this in the Torah, it says this in the Midrash. You got to make little designs on the tops of the letters, these things, these crowns. And Moses says, why do I got to do that? And God says, well, one day there will arise this great rabbi, Akiva, and he'll heap mounds of interpretations even upon the decorations on the letters. And Moses says, wow, I'd really like to meet this guy. And then there's like, it's like a time machine. And all of a sudden, Moses is sitting in the back of Rabbi Akiva's Beit Midrash, in the back of his study hall. And he's in the back of the study hall, and and Akiva is teaching, and Moses doesn't understand the lesson. He doesn't understand what's going on in the lesson. And at some point, one of the students asks, how do you know that? How do you know, what's the source for what you're teaching, Rabbi Akiva? And Rabbi Akiva says, God taught this to Moses at Mount Sinai, right? And then Moses laughs, and then, right, he's back on the mountain, right? And I think it's such a brilliant and wonderful story because on one hand, the rabbis didn't, in the sense that we do today, they didn't have this sense of historical development, how things change over long periods of time. But they certainly had an insight into it here. They certainly understand that what they understand as Judaism in the rabbinic period, Moses wouldn't have understood. Now, they would say that God gave it all, and a lot of it had to be uncovered, right, over time, that it was all there at the beginning, and we continue to uncover it. It was in the teachings. It was just hidden, right? But there's a great psychological insight. Each generation, right? Each generation, we say in our Seder, sees itself as if we come out of Egypt. I would say each generation sees ourselves as if we stood at Mount Sinai, right? And each of us hears those voices in a different way. And if we really listen, then we can find our voice in the voice of the people and in the divine voice, and we have holiness and teaching to pass on as well to future generations. Shabbat Shalom. All right. So we are going to turn now to page 253. And, okay, middle of the page. So as we do Misha Berach, which is on page 253. Oh, okay. In the middle of page 253.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor Abracha Imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We ask for blessings upon Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Tobak, Rosin Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Brad Holland, Serena Postal, Robert Strober, Lori Snyder, Charita Razaday, Joel Beasy, Gloria Foster, Robert Gerard, Adele Harris, Brenda Found Gerard, Jan Marcus, Marla Fregoso, Al Shapiro, Jeff Nelson, Robert Waldman, Barry Gustafaro, Yudik Gratz DeLang, Audrey Kubel, Deborah DeLang, James Stead, Rita Elias, Stephen Gilbert, Sharon Zaki, Nell Barron, Oliver Holland, Bill Hughes, Ed Means, Stephanie Holland, Stan Stein, Virginia Guzman, Suzette Guzman, Marilyn Rudin, Claudia Phillips, Kenneth Phillips, Sandy Gunn, Ron Gilman, Julie Penn Simon, Eric Baldwin, Rabbi Jules King, Faye Bernstein, Abby Binstock Moore, Carol Blitz, Sandra Dizengoff, Sherry Mosley, Jeff Blackie, Hannah Nelson, Mike Friel, John Ramirez, and like to invite Candy back up to the Mima to share some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Candy Fisher, and on behalf of your Board of Trustees, thank you so much for being here in the sanctuary and online. Todah Rabbah to Rabbi Kupitz for the very fascinating, and I loved all the sound effects, Devar Torah this evening, and to Cantor Bush for leading us in music. Thank you to Randy Polavoy for your beautiful piano accompaniment, and to Sean Peterson for bringing our Shabbat service to everyone online. Appreciation to this evening's greeters, Judy Rose, Sharon Sachs-Regalado, and Kylie Sykes. After services, we gather in the social hall for refreshments and conversation. Thank you to Adele Harris and others who generously donated items for tonight's Zuneg. We have a very busy and engaged community, and here are just a few of the events coming up soon. We have Torah study tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, starting at 9:30 on Zoom, so please refer to your takiyah for the link. Tomorrow evening, we have a taste of TBI beginning at 7:30 with Havdalah in the social hall. When you come, you are in for a real treat, as there will be food from at least 14 countries to taste and enjoy, including Brazil, Kenya, Cuba, Tanzania, the Netherlands, China, England, Israel, and Russia, just to name a few. Not only that, but Cantor Bush will be offering lovely music with which to enjoy our international delicious treats. And if you have any unaffiliated or Jewish interested friends, please bring them along. Looking ahead, please mark your calendar for Wednesday, July 3rd, when we will be hosting a Red Cross blood drive. Come anytime between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Finally, mark your calendar for Sunday, July 14th, for a full day of fun and learning right here at Temple Beth Israel. Every 2 years, Women of Reform Judaism Pacific District has an area day, which involves women from congregations spanning the region from Santa Barbara to San Diego. This year, Women of Temple Beth Israel was selected to be the area day host. We will have 14 different workshops offered throughout the day, which will also include a light breakfast and a catered lunch. To register, go online to wrjpacific.org or reach out to me. Shabbat Shalom.
I have a wedding tomorrow evening, so I don't get to have the 14 plus kinds of food. I'm not feeling very good about that. I had the wedding scheduled before we had the event, but you got to keep leftovers from all 14 places for me, because that sounds like I don't know. I like to eat, so it's a good event. So I encourage all of you to I'm waving to the people online to come tomorrow evening and taste foods and make Havdalah and be with others and do that, and then report as to what you think were the best foods, because that's good for me. All right. So we're going to turn now to our song sheet. On this third Shabbat of the month, we've been using an alternative Aleinu. So it says Aleinu l'shabeach there on the page. And then the final Hebrew there is also on the page, so you don't have to flip back to your prayer book at the end. So I'm going to invite everybody who can comfortably do so to please rise.
It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we are free to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach, it's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. We bring meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach, it's time to live our praise. It's up to us to own the vision. We are answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise.
אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
נאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Like many other adoptees, I wondered where I came from. As an adult, I wanted to know my family health history as well. I was placed with my adoptive parents at the age of 5 months and legally adopted a year later. We lived in New York City area of Massapequa. Only since 2020, I learned that my biological family members lived nearby me in Massapequa, but apparently our paths did not cross. I think I knew I was adopted when I was 4 years old. That's when my adopted family relocated to St. Louis, Missouri, where I grew up. My adopted parents later had 3 more boys. My search for my biological family began in earnest in 1991 with letters to New York adoption agencies and state health departments. Around the late 1990s, I hired someone to research my biological origins. She was able to obtain my biological mother's name, Estelle Shine, and my birth name, J. Harris Shine. When I reached out to my only half-brother I knew at the time, he was doubtful his mother was mine as well. The researcher also provided me with some social history background on my biological parents. I learned that my biological father was in the Navy, and he was involved with my biological mother. In 2020, adoption records were opened in the state of New York. I immediately inquired about birth information, and after about 8 months, I received lengthy social history on my biological parents, as well as a copy of my original birth certificate. With the birth certificate, I was able to confirm that my mother was, in fact, the woman the researcher had told me. I sent that information to my now confirmed maternal half-brother, who acknowledged me and told me I had a half-sister with his family as well. I learned, too, that my biological mother passed away in 1993. My birth name was J. Harris Shine. I knew Shine was my mother's maiden name and wondered if Harris was my father's surname. His name wasn't on the birth certificate. Subsequently, I did both Ancestry and 23andMe DNA tests. With that, a maternal first cousin once removed, Cy Ander, reached out to me. With him, I learned so much about my biological mother since he grew up with her. He knew of the relationship between my biological parents, but not about the pregnancy. Another close match on the DNA test was to a Paul Harris. He responded initially to my inquiry, but the conversation did not go further. The name Harris had to be explored further. I discovered Paul had a sister, Jillian, and reached out to her. She contacted her dad, Arnie Harris, who lived in New York, who reached out to me That was the turning point of my search for my bio father. Arnie filled me in. He opened up so much about my roots. I learned I had 17 first cousins. My father, Samuel Harris, was one of multiple brothers and sisters. He passed away in 1994. Arnie told me I had a half-sister, Adele Harris, who lives in California. I think when I first talked to her, she was skeptical. I sent her a DNA test to take that confirmed we were half-siblings. I think she was excited to learn that she had a half-brother and eagerly shared information about our father. Several years ago, I went to meet Adele in California. We have since continued to communicate frequently. This is the 30th yahrzeit of my father, Samuel Harris's death. Adele wanted me to share this event with her.
So we turn to page 294. As we turn toward Kaddish. Our thoughts turn to all of those in our lives who have brought our lives meaning, have been important to us, have left this earth, those who have died in recent days or at this time in years past. Remember the recent deaths of Jennifer Hamilton, daughter of Marilyn Rudin and Howard Rudin, of Marilyn Lubarsky. We remember the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Louis Bush, Stacey Davis, Harry Estrin, Eric Fishbein, Angela Flowers, Shoshi Galeen, Alan Getty, Dr. Myron Michael Glovsky, Samuel Harris, Rebecca Harris, Dave Cantor, Paula Klein, Camille Audrey Mann, Norma Lerner Mazet, Esther Morrison, Fanny Friedman Rose, Ida Schall, Mabel Shapiro, Edward Schneider, Shulamit Shabte, Jean Schaefer, Chris Silverman, Beatrice Silverman, Adele Smolin, Ann Unger, and Yaron Zamir. Beatrice Silverstein, sorry. If you're remembering somebody on this Shabbat and would like to mention their name or restate a name that I've already read, please feel free to do so as I come by your row. If you're in a time of mourning or observing a yahrzeit on the Shabbat, I invite you to rise, if you can do so comfortably. And I invite the rest of the congregation, if it's your custom, to rise and embrace and support of those who mourn. Kaddish is on 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yahei shmei rabbah mevarach v'olam olomei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, Shmei Dukudasha B'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiram bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. We'll close with those same words, the last couple of lines that we had there, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Bimromam Oseh Shalom Bimromam Uyaseh Shalom Uyaseh Shalom Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oseh Shalom Bimromam Oseh Shalom Bimromam Uyaseh Shalom Uyaseh Shalom Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu.
For those who joined us online, thank you for being with us. For those of you in the sanctuary, please join us in the social hall for Kiddush, Motzi, refreshments. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.